All right, let's see what we got here. Hello, hello, hello. Testing. Are you there? Wake up. Hello. Are we on? Is this thing working? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? All right. Well, here we go. We're going to give it a try. We're going to give it a whirl. This is a subscriber's question. So we got a question, and let me find the question. Another good question. I thought, lots of other people might have the same question and want to hear about this. So this is the question. Okay, the glyphs. It's a really good question. It's about the glyphs. And their question says, if you have a moment, I have noted in the lives and on recent videos, there are 3 new glyphs that you have shown that are just suddenly on the chart. 3 new glyphs. At least for me, maybe I just haven't noticed them before is what they're suggesting. Would you be able to share them? I think one of them might be Hermes. I think once I get them on my chart, I'll have some more revelations. So thank you so much for this library. There was another 2-part to that question, but it was more private. It was about their chart. So I believe I already addressed that in the video. So the subscriber, you know who you are that asked this question. Hopefully you get to see this video because we're gonna tackle this. I'm gonna pull up the chart so that we can explore this. These are things that are not normally shown on charts. And the reason I show them is because out on the other software where I normally do a lot of my work, especially when I'm answering questions on the channel and where I have my own chart at, right? And where like if I'm trying to figure things out, I'm like, okay, let's see what's what, right? And so there are times when I am just simply guided. I'm just simply guided to pull up certain things. And so I'm like, well, you just don't know if it's anything until you put it on your chart and then see if it produces anything is a way of putting it, right? See if you can notice it in your life. You know, like how you notice a Mercury retrograde. You know how you notice when the moon moves into, let's say, like the sign of Cancer, mom, feeling, families, emotions, or when the moon then moves into the Aries energy and the big difference, very independent, fiery, maybe optimistic, right? A little bit more physical. Don't feel so sluggish like the moon is in Aries. We're all about let's do something, let's take action. And so we can kind of see those things if we're tracking and paying attention, right? If we have a certain level of self-awareness developed, we can see these things, right? So that's what we're going to take a look at here. Let's see, we got to show this and then we'll pull it up so that you guys can see it too. I'm just going to do the chart of the moment because I just got this question in and I said, you know what? Let me do a video on this because likely this may kill. Well, I don't want to use that phrase. So we're going to go over, you're right, subscriber. We'll name this Hermes. Hermes was one of them. I believe another one, well, we'll get to the other 2 that I've just recently have always been looking at them out there on that chart out there for myself. And then like when I look at the viewers and they have questions, and here's Taffy. But I also recently put it up on the Starry Night Live. I added it to the software there. And that is what you're referencing, that suddenly you're seeing something new that you didn't notice before. Let me sit back for a second because she's got long claws right now. And yeah, I don't need her to use those claws to hang on once she gets where she's going. Come on, mama. She's like, we're on. It's the show. I got work to do. Let me get your little towel down here. Let me get your little blanket. It's not really a blanket. It's just like a little thingamajigger. And she likes it because the table, we're like rain and 40. So it's windy, it's cold, it's supposed to be spring. I mean, it's spring, but it's just a little cool side on the spring. All right, Taffy, I'm going to push the microphone up so you can scoot your butt over a little bit more and have that space. Okay, so let us get to this chart. I need to move over a little bit, Taff. We got to go find the chart. And so let's expand this chart. The first thing I'll do is I will go and look for Hermes. And there it is. There is Hermes. Okay. So Hermes looks like a Mercury. A Mercury. Yeah. And this is, by the way, the chart. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess that doesn't matter. I was doing the chart of the moment and I realized it's all good. And draw a line around it. And then go like that. What do you think? You see Hermes now? That little glyph. You're right. So it looks like Mercury with like snakes on the skull. Okay. Coming off the top of the head, right? So Hermes is known as messenger of the gods, right? Mercury and Hermes. So Hermes to me would rule Aquarius. To me, I would assign Hermes to Aquarius energy, but others may disagree to that. I'm just going to read. There's a little bit of a definition from the software, and it says Hermes, son of Zeus. It's all about messages and writing and record keeping. So I know Hermes is also known as in Egyptian. I'm not a big Egyptian person, but I have a friend, and this is like her expertise. I might not know how to pronounce it. I want to say, oh God, it came and went. It's not Thor. I feel really silly right now. Anyway, they don't say the other name in here, and they should. And maybe if I did a quick Google search, I might get that, right? I might be able to get that. Let me see if I can get that. I might be able to get the other word that I'm looking for. Hermes, the Chicago store. No, I know what I'm looking for. It's the symbol, that's on the caduceus. You see it because it's got like a sword. Hermes is, man, this isn't what I'm looking for. I know I have a YouTube video that talks about it. So I'm taking a shortcut. It's probably not the best thing, but anyway, I know when we're talking about Zeus, we're talking about Greek mythology, right? So I'll start there. But Hermes, yeah, the Olympian god of herds and flocks, travelers and hospitality, roads and trade. Sounds a lot like Mercury. Thievery and cunning, diplomacy, language, writing, athletic contests and gymnasiums, astronomy and astrology. Damn, I was right. Astrology. Well, I said Aquarius, astrology. He was the personal messenger of Zeus, king of the gods, and also the guide of the dead, who led souls down into the underworld. Yeah, but for some reason, like the Egyptian, oh man, who knows their ancient Egypt stuff? Oh man, I feel really stupid that I can't say that right now. I'm just, it's like on the tip of my tongue. It's just gone. Hawk, sacred animals associated, the hawk, the ram, and the rabbit. There's absolutely something to this. I can relate to this in a big way. The symbol is the caduceus. Yep. Wow. I'm just reading this and it's like confirming. Now let me read some others. Let me read some others for Hermes. Like that was just the one. And let me see if we can find. I know you guys know. It's going to drive me nuts. It's going to drive me nuts who to associate the Egyptian stuff. It's going to drive me nuts. But it's the scribe. It's not Hathor. It's not. When I hear it, I'll be like, that's it. It's just eluding me. It's completely and totally eluding me. So I'm going to Encyclopedia Britannica. We want to double check our source. And you got to do it with some really good sources, right? Credible sources. Roman Mercury, right? Often identified with the Roman Mercury. Name is probably derived from the Greek, right? the Greek word herm, which means a heap of stones, such as was used in the country to indicate boundaries or as a landmark. Um, their worship as a god of fertility. Interesting. In the literature, Hermes was constantly associated with the protection of cattle and sheep and was often closely connected with deities of vegetation, especially Pan, P-A-N or Pan, and the nymphs, N as in nice, Y-M-P-H-S, nature nymphs. In the Odyssey, he appears mainly as the messenger of the gods and the conductor of the dead to take down to Hades. Hermes was also a dream god, and the Greeks afforded to him the last libation before sleep. As a messenger, he may also become the god of roads and doorways, and he was the protector of travelers. Treasure casually found was his gift, and any stroke of good luck was attributed to him. This conception and his function as a deity of gain, honest or dishonest, are natural derivatives of his character as a god of fertility. In many respects, he was Apollo's counterpart. Like him, Hermes was a patron of music and was credited with the invention of the kithara, must be an instrument, K-I-T-H-A-R-A, and sometimes of music himself. He was also god of eloquence and presided over some kinds of popular divination. The sacred number of Hermes was the number 4, and the 4th day of the month was his birthday. Okay, what month are we talking? Hermes is portrayed as a full-grown and bearded man clothed in a long tunic and often wearing a cap and winged boots. Sometimes he was represented in his pastoral character, bearing a sheep on his shoulders. At other times, he appeared as a messenger of the gods with the staff, the caduceus staff, which is like that long stick with the snakes doing that whole thing, and then the wings at the top, right? This was his most frequent attribute, the caduceus. From the latter part of the 5th century BCE, he was portrayed as a nude and beardless youth, a young athlete. Okay, so really similar with Mercury. And what do you hear me say many times about Mercury and Aquarius energy? That Mercury functions like exceptionally well in Aquarius. It's like you know how Venus's second higher octave is Neptune? Mercury's second higher octave is Aquarius, you see. And so Hermes, messenger of the god, normally because it's Aquarian energy, and I'm going to stick to my first intuition or download or whatever, or guidance that I was given to keep it as part of astrology, because it's electric. It's like a lightning bolt. Whenever we talk about Aquarius energy, I've often used the Frankenstein story, right? And how trying to connect that sort of inhumane power, divine power, into the human being or into that thing to create life, like thinking that jolt should make it come to life, right? And so Hermes, messenger of the gods, it's like when you get like these sparks of inspiration or these lightning bolts of inspiration, or when stuff comes in like at a flash, minus the actual living lightning bolt, but the flash of inspiration. And I get it, because I get these and I totally agree with it. And so that's why Hermes, I think, is important. And so find out where Hermes is in your chart. Let me come back over to where you guys are so I can help this along a little bit better. I'm not sure what you're looking at. Okay, yeah, I drew on it. And so there's Hermes. And that was the definition. Actually, they have a little bit more in the software. I'll repeat it because it's very short. Son of Zeus, messages, writing, record keeping, cunning, taking the mind beyond traditional limitations, Aquarius, able to assist communication between disparate parties or parts of self. And I think it's supposed to be disparate parties or parts of self. I'm sorry, like my brain and the way I'm reading and pronouncing things is bizarre. It's just very different than normal for me. So bear with me on that. So that right there is Hermes. Find out where it is in your birth chart. what we can do now is kind of maybe discover a little bit about the speed of Hermes, because, you know, that matters. If we don't know its speed and the length of time, you know, it's like, well, if it's in such and such's chart, is it in all of our charts? You know, kind of like the galactic center, which it won't be because those are very different. But let me do a little cheating on my software. I'll go backwards a month because right now Hermes is in Capricorn at 352. If I back it up a month, Hermes was, where were you? Hermes. If I back it up a month, it's buried somewhere. Holy crap. It was an Aquarius at 15. Okay. So Hermes moves backwards normally. Interesting. Let's move it back another month. If I move it back another month, Hermes is in Aries. Wow. Okay. So let's do this. Let's just go to the day. Let's see how fast this puppy moves. That's the thing. I figured it moved fast, but I didn't realize it was going to move this fast. And I think it is a very fast mover. So we're going to change it from this hour that we're at right now, where I'm recording, and we're going to move it just 1 hour. And it's retrograding. So it has moved 1 degree within an hour. Okay. It moves approximately 1 degree an hour. Approximately. So that tells you how fast it moves. So where the Hermes is in your chart will be really specific for you on your journey for sure. The faster something moves, to me anyway, the faster something moves means it can be anywhere, right? It's like that vertex point. It moves so fast. The part of four, like all those things move really fast. So depending upon like the location for you in your chart, it's going to be different than mine. It's going to be different than a siblings. It's going to be different than someone who was born in the same month and the same year as you, right? It will only be more specific to those who were born in the same location around the same time. So that really whittles it down to how many people will have it at that same point, right? So it makes it way more private, I think. Absolutely. So find out what house number your Hermes is in, what house number, and that tells you where you get information. But remember, there can be some tricks because the information comes so quickly. I'm just drawing this line as an example. It's in the 4th house of this chart. That would be home and family and mom, nurturing, childhood, emotional needs, feelings, the public, culture, my ancestry, your 4th house, the past. Okay. So when we go backwards, yeah, I said when we go backwards. I was trying to talk about Hermes and the location and the speed of it. And when we talk about the speed, because it's a retrograde right now, it absolutely is moving backwards. That's what I was trying to tie that into that other thing, talking about it being in Aquarius when I saw it, when I went back by a month. So that's as far as we're going to go on that for right now, because we have some other ones we're going to look at. All right. We're going to go to the next glyph. Let me shrink this back down again and try to get this here. The next glyph I've put on these charts that is new is, where are you? Here it is. This is, you guys are probably going to laugh, but this is Hercules. Below the video, I'll have all the degrees for those of you who like to pay attention to the degrees in your chart. Again, if you don't know and you want to know, just comment below.